On this webinar, we're going to take a look at some of the amazing features that are within the studios. So as we can see here, we're in our studios, and we can see here we've got System 21 standard studios in the system. And above here, there's a couple that I've built myself. So we're sitting on the All Open Job Studio. So what we're going to take a look at are the key features that are within all of the studios. So at the top, you can see here, you're always going to have filters. And the whole point of this is so you've got options of what you want to view data-wise. So at the moment, for example, we're viewing all jobs across the company. So there's 37 contract jobs that are open. If you then want to go and view all those jobs for one team, for example, so a team's jobs, then you can go and select that team, use the arrow, or instead, what you can do is you can double click and then you can tick and it will show just the jobs for that particular team. And as we can see there aren't any. So I'm going to move that team back over and pick commercial perms just to show you. And we can see there's 2, so we know the rest are all sitting within the general team. So great if you're a team manager or team leader, so you can get an idea of the jobs in your team. Again, what you can do is do that for office level as well. You can do that for regional level. But most importantly, and the most commonly used, you can go and find your name. If you click in here, start typing in your name, and again, use that arrow, you can go and view your own jobs in the system. So they're sitting like that. So please take a look at the filters, see what do you want to look at in here. You've also got other filters, and they do vary between each of the widgets. So you can see in here, as these are job-related ones, it's asking you, job created, what do you want to take a look at? So again, if your particular role, you end up looking at multiple jobs and you're always looking at a lot at one time, you may want to then change your focus to the recent jobs you've added on. Or you might want to go full and see all your jobs in there. So it's really up to you at what you want to view. Also, last contacted. So whenever you last logged a call or sent an email or logged a text to your contact for the job, again, you might think you've got more chance of speaking to that person again or having a relationship, or you just might want to see your data. So go and use your filters on each of the widgets and set them up how you want to see them. The next thing that's really important is understanding that you've got some kind of control on the view that you see with the columns that we've got in here. So at the moment, we can see job title, client, contact, start date. So anywhere in the widget, where in the filter section, there is a metrics button, you can click on the drop down, you will get options of different columns of data, and then you can select them. But just be wary when you're using this, you always have to reselect the original ones that are sitting in here. So again, I'm going to pick in there job title. I might want to see the only consultant if I'm viewing the team. You can see client, contact, start date as well. And you can pick other things. So I'm going to go for charge. I think last contacted date. So once you've done that and tick, see how you can add those columns in. And again, if you want to amend them and remove certain columns, click on that, click on one from here and use the back arrow. Much nicer. Okay, now at the top, really important to understand the icons up here. So this first one, it hides the toolbar. And when it says toolbar, it means this section here with the filters. So you can see, look, once you've set them up, it makes it nice and neat for you. You've also got in there the minimize button. So you can kind of minimize the view and open it again when you want to use it in there. You do have in here little information button, which really is giving you a description of what that widget is showing. And then you've got the settings cog and several options in here. So you can either refresh, so that fresh data will be coming onto that widget. You can reset the columns. So if you've been playing around with the columns like this, then you can reset them into place. You can also print in this section. That's very much dependent on how your administrator at your company has had this set up. So they may have switched off printing and they may have allowed it on there. So that's completely up to your end there. And you can also change the colors. So you can click onto that and then you can see at the bottom, you can select the border color and also the caption so the text color as well. So go in and make those studios and those widgets nice and pretty. Much better. So for example, if I go red, so I want a red border and I'm happy with white for the writing, and that's how it will look in that section there. So that's how you can go in here. Now on the right, or anywhere there's an arrow, can you see here we've got an arrow, again we've got an arrow. There are options in there where you can then run a workflow. So this is the whole point of the studios, to be able to not only view your data in one section, which is very key, but also to be able to work through different workflows in that area. So we can go and log phone calls, we can log texts, send emails, and send text to your contact from here. On the right, you've got similar options here, but you can also close the job if you need to, change the job status if it's going on hold or closing. You can then run a search from here as well, and you'll notice you've also got in there other communication workflows as we've seen before. So amazing that you can run those in the system as well. Now, anywhere where you see a plus icon, that's where you can expand data out. So if we click on this plus over here, what it will show you is any candidates that are being put forward through Adapt to this job. So you can see here we've got two. We've got one candidate who's at interview arrange stage and one who has already been placed. So that means we can see already that this job must need at least two people, because one's been placed already, it's still open, so we're looking for another person on that job. So you can see when they were shortlisted, the current stage they're at the moment, and even better, again, workflows here, linking to now logging calls and texts and emails to that candidate. And then also you can even preview the CV and add them to a search result. And on the right, you can then work them through the next step, depending on how successful they are with that job. And you've also got settings in there as well. So, and you can close. And from here, the other option here is candidate submittals. So if you're aware that you'll be told by a candidate that they've also been put forward for this same job, but by a different agency, you can go into the candidate record or the job record, and you can record that data in there. So you can go and put that in so that when you open the job or open that plus, you can see which candidates have currently been put forward by a different agency and what stage are they at. So really handy information in there. So that's all the main things I wanted to show you within the cogs. The last thing I want to show you was just looking at the performance widget. So anytime in a studio you see the performance widget in there, it's looking at another table and it needs to be refreshed. So let's, for example, go to the contract revenue studio. So you'll see it says performance in there and it's blank. So what you'll always need to do is when it's connecting to this particular studio, but you need to click on update performance here. And then come down to the bottom and the settings and refresh. And then it will give you your latest figures in the system. So it's looking at actual gross margin and revenue and forecast as well. So see how you need to always click on update the performance at the top. So it refreshes this widget up here. Come down to the performance one, always go to settings and to refresh, and it will give you your latest figures in that section. So that's an overview of the key studio features.